Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm with the Welland Public Library bringing you another grab and go activity. This week's activity has to do with tornadoes. So we are in the spring season, and in the spring season is typically when tornadoes happen, or when we call the tornado season, at least in the United States. In Canada, tornadoes happen a little bit more end of June into July when we have warmer weather. But in the States, the United States, they get the most amount of tornadoes of any country per year. And their tornado season begins in the spring. Now the States, as you know, is over here, and they are closer to the equator, meaning they are closer to the sun than we are. And because they are also further north than countries that lie on the equator, they have the perfect conditions to create these tornadoes that happen. And in the States, they have something called Tornado Alley. And Tornado Alley really hits these states here. Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Kansas, South Dakota, Iowa, and even Nebraska. Some of you may even know of a famous movie that features tornadoes that happens in the state of Kansas. Now, what makes a tornado? So we can think about tornadoes as cold air and hot air fighting against one another. So warm air or hotter air will collide with colder air. And two things happen when they start to collide. The warmer air will try to rise as the cold air will try to involve or wrap around the warm air. And as the warm air tries to rise up through the cold air, it'll cause a draft. And that draft will start the rotational movement that we know to be in tornadoes. And while it's rotating, because of the varying temperatures or the competing hot and cold air, we're going to start to get thunderstorms. And most tornadoes begin with thunderstorms. And the rotational speed will increase as the hot and the cold air are fighting amongst each other. And it'll start to form droplets of rain because of these varying pressures. And the droplets of rain will then form the funnel cloud. And as the funnel cloud spins towards the earth, it will, once it hits the ground, that's when it's actually called a tornado. They almost always start out of a thunderstorm, and sometimes they're accompanied by hail, which are those large chunks of ice that fall from the sky. The sky is typically dark greenish when we have tornadoes. The tornadoes in the northern hemisphere rotate clockwise, and the tornadoes in the southern hemisphere rotate in a counterclockwise motion. Texas is on record for the most amount of tornadoes in a year. They average around 120 tornadoes in Texas alone every year. The average size of a tornado is about 201 meters. So you can think about that. It's like walking around the Welland City Civic Square, walking around from the library to the front entrance, or maybe from the library just almost to the vegan hippie trick across the street from the Civic Square is about 200 meters, and that's how wide they can get. And the average speed is about 48 kilometers per hour. Now, around your house, if you live in a little cul-de-sac, the average speed is about 50 kilometers per hour. That's usually the record, or the law. Around your school zone, it'll be 40 kilometers per hour. So if a tornado is averaging 48 kilometers in a school zone, it would be speeding. The fastest ever tornado on record traveled at 512 kilometers per hour. So that is fast enough to get from the Welland Library, the main branch, almost all the way to the Parliament Hill in Ottawa in 1 hour. So it's very, very fast. Canada itself only sees about 80 tornadoes per year, and they're typically a lot lower in numbers than, or a lot lower in severity than they are in the United States. And that's because, again, of that competing air pressure, and we have lower or colder air where they have warmer air in the United States. On average, the prairies, so we have Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they get the most amount of tornadoes per year, followed by Quebec and then western southern Ontario, so London, Windsor type areas. Most tornadoes happen in the afternoon, and that's partly because of the sun. So the sun has had all morning and most of the afternoon to heat up the air on the earth, and then that's how we're going to get that competing cold and hot air that forms those clouds. So for our take-home activity, we're going to make a tornado in a jar. So in your kit, you're going to get a jar with a lid and a package of vinegar. And keeping in mind it's April and we wanted to reuse some things, these are jars that we're reusing, and we often end up, when we have takeout, saving vinegar packages for some odd reason. And, you may have a drawer full of them at home as well. So jar and vinegar package. At home, you're going to need some water. And if you like, incredibly optional, not necessarily, some food coloring and or glitter. And you're also going to need some dish soap. So you're going to take off your lid of your jar and you're going to fill it up almost all the way with water. So you want to fill it up about 3/4 of the way full, like so. And then you're going to open up your vinegar package and pour the vinegar into your jar. And you're going to pour about a teaspoon or so of dish detergent into your jar as well. Now, if you want, you can add your food coloring and your glitter at this point as well. You are going to put that lid on and make sure you're putting it on nice and tight. You may want to ask your adult for help. And then you're going to turn it upside down and swirl it. And then when you're swirling it, you're going to see a tornado in the jar. And how this works is when we're spinning our jar, the force, centrifugal force, is pushing the water to the outside. And our soap is trying to make little bubbles and makes a cloud because it's competing because of its density with the water's density. And the vinegar just helps to slow down the amount of bubbles that form inside of our jar. So one more time, spin it really fast. And then you can see this cloud or this tornado that appears. And if you put in food coloring, you're able to see it around the food coloring. And glitter is kind of just for fun if you have it. Now, if you'd like to learn more about tornadoes, we have lots of books, including Killer Disasters, Tornadoes. Good questions. What makes a tornado twist? Twister. Tornadoes. We also have, from Magic Treehouse, Twisters, which is a nonfiction book from the creators of the Magic Treehouse, and as well from Magic School Bus, Wild Weather. And The Tornado Scientist, Seeing Inside Severe Storms. So those are some of the books that we have about tornadoes. Again, this week is Earth Day, and so I'm going to highlight just one book about helping our planet. And this book is called The Plastic Problem. and it's by Rachel Salt. And the reason that I'm highlighting just this one book is because Rachel is going to join us on Thursday, which is Earth Day, at the Welland Public Library for a virtual presentation. If you'd like to sign up for that, you can go over to our website and register, and then join us on Thursday to hear Rachel discuss the problems with plastic and how we can help that in our environment. To pick up any one of our grab and goes, you can call one of our branches to pick them up and arrange an appointment. You can also arrange curbside appointments for any other materials that we have at the library, including books, video games, DVDs, and even a Nintendo Switch if you'd like. If you have any questions, please send us an email or give us a call. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.